Hello guys, Smart Paula here. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I will show you how to put your package dedicated server and host it on any sort of virtual machine, such as an Amazon free web server that you can test out for multiplayer, have your friends join from across the globe, and have your server up 24/7. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, for this video, you will need a credit card to sign up for Amazon Web Services, even for the free tier that they have set up, where you pay as much as you use. So you get a set amount of hours each month per region that you can use. So really, you don't have to pay anything as long as you monitor your usage. But again, you will need a credit card or debit card to sign up. Now, you can just follow along with a tutorial using another virtual server hosting site, such as DigitalOcean. There's hundreds of other ones that you can use, but just note some of those services you will actually have to pay a monthly fee, so just keep that in mind. So go ahead and head over to aws.amazon.com. You're going to go ahead and sign into the console right here, and you're going to have to create a new Amazon Web Server account. Now this is entirely different from your Amazon account that you order stuff on. So just note that and fill out your email address, password, account name, all that stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and do it right here. Okay, click continue. So as you can see, we're going to do personal accounts, phone number, just enter your phone number, address, you're going to have to enter your address, your postal code, all that information. So agree to the terms of service, click continue. And then right here, you're going to enter your payment information, so your credit or debit card number. And like I said before, it only charges you for how much that you use, and you can very easily monitor your usage and turn off your server if you don't want to go over your monthly amount. And I will likely make a video reviewing how well the free tier here is on Amazon Web Servers, as well as some of the other tiers, in a future video. It's going to want to verify your phone number. Okay, so identity has been verified. So as you can see here, we have the basic plan, developer plan, and business plan. Like I said, I'm just going to do the free plan. Okay, we'll go ahead and sign into the console. So just go ahead and log into the account that you just made. Okay, and so basically we're here at the console. Okay, so we just hit launch a virtual machine right here, the EC2. And then you're going to go over down here. You can choose what kind of server what kind of virtual machine, what operating system you want. So we're just going to do the Microsoft Windows Server 2019 base. And select that, 64-bit. And you can see here it's just this general purpose, free tier eligible. Memory is 1 GB. So let's go ahead and click review and launch. And then launch. I'm going to create a new key pair. And you can name this whatever you want. So I'm just going to name this My Amazon Web Services. And then download the key pair. Okay, and this is basically your code for your private key for the login. So make sure you put this in the safe place. And then click Launch Instances. So we can click View Instances right here. And you're going to see it's pending and initializing. So we're going to have to wait for it. We're going to have to wait for it to launch. So you can see here, now it's running, so we can try connect right here. Download the remote desktop file. Get the password. So as you can see, it's not available yet. We're going to have to wait for a little bit. Okay, so now we can connect to it. Click connect, get password, choose file for the key path. Basically, it's the .pem that you downloaded earlier. So click open. You're going to get the private key right here. Decrypt the password, and then you're going to get your password right here, so copy that. Go ahead and close that. Open up the remote desktop file that you downloaded right here. Download remote desktop file. Run that. Click connect. So you're going to enter the password that you copied. You can click remember me and click OK. And then click yes. And as you see here, it's preparing the Windows server. Okay, and now we're here on the Windows Server desktop. We're going to go ahead and actually close this real quick because we need to configure the IP and a few other things before we put our server on here. So we can go ahead and close this connection. Okay, so just click over here to Instances. Go all the way over here to right where it says Launch Wizard.1. So click on that, and then we're going to scroll down here. Actually, we're going to go ahead and move this little bar up so you can see the inbound and outbound rules. We're going to go to our inbound rules, click Edit Inbound Rules, Going to change this RDP to all traffic here. And then the source would be anywhere. Okay, and then hit save rules. And then you can see here, all traffic, all, port range, all. And then for outbound rules, we'll do the same, edit outbound rules, click all traffic, custom, change that to anywhere, click save rules. So you can see here, inbound and outbound is both all in all. Next up, we're going to assign Elastic IP. So click on the Elastic IP on the left, click allocate Elastic IP. So we're going to use Amazon's pool of IPv4 addresses, click allocate, and this will give us an IP address to assign to our server. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and associate this Elastic IP address. So click instance right here, choose instance. It's the one that's running. It's the same instance that we have running the Windows server. So we'll click associate. So now as you can see, we have the associated IPv4 address, which is the IP. We have it associated with our Windows server that we have running. Okay. All right. So now what we need is actually a dedicated server, a compiled dedicated server file that we can go ahead and upload to our Windows server. Now you can just go ahead and download the example project that I have already packaged and ready to go in the description below, or you can follow along and package your own dedicated server for your game. So I'll show you how to do that real quick if you've never even used Visual Studio or if you've never done that before. So real quick, you make sure you have Visual Studio 2017 Community Edition. Just search it here in Google, click right here, click older version 2017 and click download. All right, once you've downloaded that and launched the Visual Studio installer, you're going to basically download Visual Studio Community 2017 and then modify it. Make sure you have the gaming development with C++ checkmark, and right here, if you select it on the right, you're going to see Windows 10 SDK, and then you're going to also need the individual components 4.62.SDK, and then in our individual components, you can see here I have the 4.6.2 SDK and targeting pack. Very important you have both of those. And the Windows 10 SDK. So just click modify for that and you should be ready to go. Then go ahead and head over to github.com/epicgames/Unreal Engine. And if you get this 404, it's because you need to log in to your GitHub account. So either make a GitHub account or log into your existing one. And if you still get a 404, you need to link your Epic account to your GitHub account. So go to unrealengine.com, sign in to your Epic Games account. Then under your account, click personal, and under your connections on the apps, go over to the accounts and make sure you have your GitHub account. This bar will be blue, so just click connect and log into your GitHub. And so it should look like this when you're finished. And then you'll be able to access github.com/epicgames/Unreal Engine without any 404. So go ahead and make sure you select 4.25.3 right here, clone and download the zip. And once that's downloaded, you can go ahead and extract the files. So now let's finish extracting. Open that up, and you can see here we can just drag the engine release. You can go ahead and name this actually 4.25.3, and then you can drag it into your C drive. The reason why you want to put this into the root of your C drive, or if you have a D drive, put it in your D drive, is because when you run the setup.bat, you're going to get this error that there's a long folder path. Just to really easily get rid of that error, you want to have this in your C drive or your D drive. All right, and then once that's finished, you can go ahead and open it up in the C drive and click the setup.bat, and it will start downloading the engine. All right, and if you get any red errors or anything like that, you might have missed a step, so you might have to go back and open up the Visual Studio installer and check and see that you have the right dependencies installed. Then you can go ahead and after the setup.bat, run the generate project files.bat. That will generate the Visual Studio project files. Okay, and that's pretty much it. You're done with the source build. You can go ahead and close that off. Now we're going to go ahead and create a brand new project, or you can use your own game that you have to build the dedicated server for. Just note that if you have lots of code and lots of blueprint in there and you've never packaged the game before, you might get some errors. So maybe just for the sake of this tutorial, you can follow along and just create a blank project. So as you can see here, I'm creating a brand new third-person project with Unreal Engine 4.25.3. I'm just going to name it my AWS game. And in our project, or in your game, you go ahead and make sure you obviously have Visual Studio. Right click and click create new C++ class. Click next and create class. So this will convert your project to have C++ and it will generate the Visual Studio project files that we need. So it'll open up Visual Studio. You can go ahead and close that, and you can go ahead and close your project. Now navigate to your Unreal Projects folder. So in your Documents, Unreal Projects, under my AWS game. And so first of all, we're going to need to go to our source build. So go to your C drive, or in this case, it's my D drive. Go to Unreal Engine 4.25.3 and the engine and source, and then copy over the UE4 server.target.cs into your my AWS game source. Okay, and then you can go ahead and rename the file from UE4 server to my AWS game server, or whatever name your game is. Then go ahead and right click, edit it with Notepad++, or with Notepad, it doesn't really matter. You're going to need to change 3 names in here to your game name. So change UE4 server target to my AWS game as server target, change UE4 game to AWS game, and then my AWS game server target. File, save that. And now we can go ahead and go back to our game folder here. Right click the project file and switch the engine version to use the source build at your C drive or D drive or wherever you have it on your hard drive. So it's going to generate the Visual Studio project files, and then we should be able to right click the .sln and open that with Visual Studio. So once that's open, what you can go ahead and do is on the right, you want to select my AWS game or your game name, and then on the top left, you're going to click this little drop down and change that to development server, and then make sure it's Win64, and then you can right click my AWS game and click build. So this will build the dedicated server file executable. So you just need to give this about 20 minutes. So as you can see here in the output log, our build is complete. We just finished compiling the dedicated server executable. So now we can go ahead and open up our project to package it. And this part is actually very important, and it will also take quite a bit of time, like around 30 minutes to an hour, depending on your PC specs. So you're going to go over to your game, make sure your game is selected, and then the top left, you're going to change it from development server to development editor, and Win64, and we're going to right click and click build. So this will build our development editor or our project. And once that's finished, you want to right click and click debug. This will launch the editor of your game. So as you can see here, my AWS game editor is launching. Now that we've done that once and we've built the editor, you don't have to ever build it again. You can actually go ahead and close this project and launch it from the Epic Games launcher right here. If we click on my AWS game, you're going to see it says other. And so that means that we did it right and we can go ahead and open it. Okay, so we just need to do a few more things, like create a simple server map and then package our game. So I'll show you guys how to do that real quick. Okay, so I have my Amazon web game right here. It's just a third person character. I'm just gonna go ahead and file, create a new level, default level, delete the landscape, go into landscape mode, just create a basic landscape. Okay, and we'll just select our landscape and move it down. Doesn't have to be perfect. And set our light source here to movable, skylight to movable. And I'm just going to go ahead and put a text renderer right up here. Scale this up so you can see. Okay, and the text is just going to be named server map. That way you guys know what's going on. And we'll go ahead and actually change the color, text renderer color to like red. Okay, so when we join our server map, you're going to see this text. It's going to tell you we're on the server map. We're going to hit the save button and go to third person BP maps and save this as server map. We're going to go into edit project settings. Under maps and modes, editor default startup map, game default startup map, third person example map. So this is the third person example map. Right here, this is going to be our main menu map. You know, in your finished game, you'd have a main menu here instead of the third person example map. In fact, I'm just going to add a little text renderer right here so you really understand that this is just the main menu. Okay, so it's our game default map, third person, which is the main menu. Server default map, we're going to change this to server map. Now we can go ahead and package our game. So we go to File, Package Project, Windows 64. On our desktop, we'll make a new folder. We'll just name this Amazon Web Servers Game. And select the folder. Show the output log here on the bottom right. It's going to pop open this little window right here. And it's going to show you the build. Now, if you're doing this with your own project, and if you've never packaged your project before, you might get some errors here, especially if you have a lot of code and a lot of blueprint. So you might have to just copy and paste those errors into Google and just try and debug your project. And likewise, if you just want to follow this tutorial, you can just make a blank project like what I'm doing. Alright, so our game just finished packaging, so we can go ahead and close this. So as you can see here on our desktop, we have Windows No Editor, and we have our game, all that stuff in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag this out, paste it in there, and then delete the Windows No Editor. We have also our compiled dedicated server. So if we go into our documents, Unreal Projects, my AWS game, in the binaries 164, we should have our AWS game server executable. We can copy that and then go back into our desktop, or my AWS game, binaries 164, and then paste the server executable. Okay, and we can go ahead and create a shortcut in the properties. We're going to go off of the target right here, click space, /game/ third person BP /maps /server map -log. Okay, so the path is your content, that is the game, third person BP, maps, server map. Okay, so just know that the content is the game. You don't need to type content there or else it won't work. And make sure you have the capitalization correct. I think it is caps sensitive, so that's all good. And -log to execute the log. So hit apply and then OK. Then if we run the server shortcut to test it, you can click allow access. You're going to see CMD is going to open up with the server. And if I open up my game right here, see we're in the main menu, and then we can open up the console button by pressing the tilde key, which is right underneath the escape key, and type in open 127.0.0.1, which is the local host. So you can see here now we're in the server map, and if we open up the console, you can see our client connected here. Okay, so let's go ahead and upload this to our Amazon web server. And we can go ahead and do that by getting our game right here and adding this to archive. So I'm just going to compress the file to a .rar. That way it can be uploaded to a Google Drive and we can download it on the server. Okay, so I'm in here in my Google Drive. Go ahead and upload that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go back to our Amazon web server dashboard. So we can go to our running instances and click connect. Remember, you can download the remote desktop file, get the password, decrypt the password, and copy that to your clipboard. Open up your remote desktop. You should have the password already saved, but if not, you can just paste it like so and click yes. So before we try and download our Google Drive file right here. The Internet Explorer on this Windows server is actually disabled for the most part, so we're going to have to enable some of the features because they have it secured for a Windows server. So we'll go to the server manager, go ahead and go to local server on the left, and then right here under Internet Explorer Enhanced Security Configuration, we'll click on right there, turn it off for administrators and off for users, click OK. Now we can go ahead and close that and open up Internet Explorer. So now we should be able to go to google.com or really any website without any restrictions. And if I just copy my Google Drive file right there, the link, I paste that right in there, click enter, we can go ahead and download the AWS game.rar, download anyway, and save that. So you have about 30 gigabytes of space on here. So just note that if your game is bigger than that, you might have to look at alternative paid options, paid Amazon server or some other service. You can go back to google.com. We need to get 7-zip portable so that we can unrar our file. So go here to portableapps.com, download from portableapps.com, and click download 7-zip portable. Go ahead and run that. And as you can see here, the installer just launched, so we'll click English, click OK. Next, we'll just install it on a folder in our PC, probably documents. We'll go ahead and run it, and then we can go to our downloads, Amazon game.rar. We're going to hit extract there. Okay, and now that that is extracted, we can go into our folder. And we can just drag the extracted folder onto our desktop. Go ahead and open it up right here. And we got our game right here, and in our AWS game binaries, Win64, we have our server. So before we get everything set up and connect to our server, we actually need to go into the Windows firewall. So search up Control Panel, System and Security, Windows Defender Firewall. We're going to go to Advanced Settings. So go to Inbound Rules. Going to add a new rule. It's going to be a port. Click Next. And we'll do TCP, all local ports. Click Next. Allow the connection. Click Next. All that. Next. And we'll name this UE4 TCP. Finish. Add another new rule. Port. Next. UDP. All local ports. Click Next. Allow the connection, click Next. Next, and name this UE4 UDP. Click Finish. So we can have inbound rules, UDP and TCP. Go to outbound, add a new rule. Do port, click Next. TCP, all remote ports, click Next. And you want to make sure you hit allow the connection, not block the connection. So allow the connection, click Next. Next, and name this UE4 TCP. Finish. Add another new rule. Click port, Next. UDP, all remote ports, Next. Allow the connection, very important. Click Next. Next, and UE4 UDP. Click Finish. So we have UDP, TCP for outbound and inbound. Okay, so they're accepting connections from all ports. All right, now that that's finished, we can go ahead and what we need to do is actually install a few things for our server to run. So if we go back to our game right here and click My AWS Game, it's going to say the following components are needed to run this Microsoft Visual C++ 2015 runtime. I'd like to install them now. Click Yes. So I agree. Click Install. It's going to install here the UE4 prerequisites. Click Install. As you can see, the .NET Framework 3.5 couldn't be installed. And here in the back, you can see the UE4 prerequisites was successful, so you can close that one. But for the .NET Framework, we're going to have to manually install this. We're going to open up the Server Manager. Go to the Add Roles and Futures. Click OK. So actually we need to go ahead and close this window and then We can go ahead and add roles and features. And then we're going to click installation type, role-based feature or base installation, click next. Go into features. And then you're going to see the .NET Framework 3.5 features. Click the checkbox there. Click next. And then install. So it'll start installing, and it might take a couple minutes, so just wait for a couple minutes. Alright, so as you can see here, it's finished, feature installed, .NET Framework 3.5 features. We can go ahead and close that. We can go ahead and exit out of the server manager, and now we should be able to go to our AWS game, binaries Win64, and run our server shortcut. You can see here it's starting up the game, and just real quick, remember the shortcut has the server map as the selected map to load and -log. So now you can see our server here is up and running. So what I can go ahead and do, so if I just hit this minimize button, go to our IPv4 address, so our elastic IP right here, copy that, and then we'll go ahead and click on our game and launch our game. Alright, so we'll just hit allow access there. Click the tilde key to open up the console, type in open and paste the IP, click enter. You see here we joined the server map, and if we tab over to our server here, you can see that join succeeded. Our desktop has connected to the server here. So you can also minimize this and go back to our AWS game, open up another instance, and we can join this typing in open the IP address. As you can see, there's our other player. That tab you can see. Jump around. And see we're both in the game. There's 2 connections currently on the server. So that's pretty much it for this video. Fairly basic to get that all running and set up. There's just a couple hoops that you have to go through. And if you're not using your instance, you can go ahead and just instance state, turn it to stop. That way you're not using any resources. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this video. Hope you guys learned a lot about Amazon Web Services, as well as how to get your server up and running. Going to be making a lot more multiplayer tutorials, so stick around. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one.